affordable and customizable 401k program, and a 24/7 online human resources support center for all my HR needs.
Think of all the time we'll save. I'll be busy growing my business and letting People Lease take care of the rest.
Sounds like a good business plan with People Lease.
Let People Lease mind your business so you can mind your own business. Call now, 601-987-3025. That's 601-987-3025. Or visit freepayrollquotes.com for your free quote.
The views and opinions expressed in this program are the individual views and opinions of the people expressing them and do not necessarily reflect those of this radio station, its parent, affiliated, or related entities, agents, or employees.
If it feels like the world's gone a little crazy lately, you're not wrong. They say parents should have a voice. But what happens when no one's listening? Forget the noise, the narratives, and the nonsense. It's time to have real conversations, stand up, speak out, and shine a light on what's really happening inside our schools, our systems, and our government, and what it really means for your family. This is the Lindsey Beckham Show, where we believe in truth over talking points, facts over feelings, and the courage to say what others won't. Because when it comes to our kids, silence is not an option.
Only in America, dreaming.
Good afternoon. Welcome into the Lindsey Beckham Show, live here in the WYAB studios. We are also streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, and X. Yesterday, we talked a good bit about this conversation around public schools, this lawsuit that is taking place right now, making headlines. Are public schools unconstitutional? We're going to dive deeper into that with my friend Britney, who's back with us today. She's been here with us before, so I'm excited to have her back. But we're going to start the show like we always do here on the Lindsey Beckham Show by reading our words of wisdom, our Live in Liberty Daily quote for August 27th. This one comes from John Jay, and it was found in Council of Safety to the General Committee of Tryon County, July 22nd, 1777, as published in the Life of John Jay, printed in 1833. He said this: "What reason is there to expect that heaven will help those who refuse to help themselves, or that providence will grant liberty to those who want courage to defend it?" So I think it's extremely important that we are always defending liberty and that we have the courage to do so. And as we know, courage begots courage. And so those of us who have the backbone and the courage to speak out about issues that could change the future of our country inspires other people to speak out as well. And as we know, we are only always just one generation away from losing the rights and the freedoms that so many of our founders risked everything, including their lives for. Again, I believe we live in the greatest country to ever exist. And I love that we're able to start the show with these nuggets of wisdom from our founders. You can find these if you want to follow along yourself at liveinlibertydaily.com, written by my friend Marie, and I keep it right here in the studio with me so that I am ready to start the show with some great points. Brittany, how are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm good. Now, y'all, Brittany is another one of those moms, I guess you could call us crunchy moms. That's a term that has been designated for moms like Brittany and I. And we've both been on the battlegrounds, the front line of fighting for parental rights and what seems to be an all-out war against parents these days. And oddly enough, Brittany and I have different opposing views on school choice. Can y'all believe it? I'm friends with somebody that doesn't agree with me on something.
We do.
We do. And Brittany is in North Carolina. You may remember her. She joined me to talk about the flag situation that happened to a student over in her county who wanted to put the American flag on his parking spot. That got into a big heated debate. And he is being raised by a great parents who have instilled in him liberty and the pride that we should have in our country. And so we talked about that last time Brittany was here, but today we're going to talk about this lawsuit. Brittany sent it to me and I had not read it yet. I get the Jeff Childers emails, Coffee and COVID. If you're not subscribed, go subscribe. He's just got great opinion on so many topics, but I had not read this one yet. Brittany sent it to me and we talked about it a little bit yesterday. And I texted Brittany right after the show. I said, I'm not done talking about this yet. You want to come on and we'll hash it out? And she said, yes. So I'm so glad she's here. Brittany, what do you think about all this?
Well, so first of all, I just want to express that even though I don't agree with your position on school choice, I definitely understand it. And I would agree with it if I were not looking at things that I would consider possible unintended consequences. So I get the arguments. I get why people want them. I just have seen where the Sweden model, which is largely, if you were to look at Sweden years back, they were saying a lot of the same things that we're saying, have the money follow the child, not the school. I mean, they're using all the same verbiage, and they did it. They made it school choice. But what ended up happening is slowly but surely, when the funds followed the children, the government followed the funds. And what's happened in Sweden is you no longer have choice, because they have now gotten stricter and stricter about what they're allowed to teach. They've taken God out of the private schools and the Christian schools, because if you want the funds, and the way that it worked in Sweden was, it was first, let's get the funds. And then once all the private schools were addicted to the funds and they needed the funds and depending on the funds, then they started making these changes about what could be taught. And by that point, the schools were stuck because they were depending on the funds. And so it's left a lot of people in situations where now they don't feel like they have any choice. Now you're just choosing between which form of government school or government teaching do you want. Yeah. So that's my only problem with it.
And that's completely understandable. And I absolutely see your viewpoint. Of course, on the other hand, here in Mississippi, where there is no school choice, feel like I have no options. And I get so sick of hearing, well, you can just homeschool your kids, because it's just not that easy for a mom who's single, widowed, 5 children, all different ages, in a small house. I've got to work. I've got to be here and work 3 separate jobs, part-time jobs that I'm here, there, and everywhere. It's not that easy. It's just me. And so I don't feel like there is no other option. Yeah. And I love this lawsuit that we talked about yesterday that's happening right now in Nebraska. The way that Jeff ended this article was to compare what's happening there with Florida. And, what he said was Nebraska spends more than $19,000 on each child who sits in an approved building and $0 on the child who does not. Florida spends less and the money can leave the building. In Florida, it's a scholarship. In Nebraska, it's a lawsuit.
Yep.
And when you look at Florida, they're consistently at the top when it comes to education.
Yep. Well, and I get it. I don't want anyone to be stuck in a government school. I like this. I like this lawsuit because it gets us closer to the root of the issue, which is the obligation to educate your children, the compulsory education. Because as long as you have, now there's arguments to be had about the common good and what would happen if we don't have compulsory education, or children going to end up not being educated. I get all of those claims, but if we have compulsory education, then it follows that government would need to provide some sort of baseline. And so in order to do that, they have to collect taxes. So in order to do that, then that gets us where we are today. Right. So I like though this particular suit is not making the bold claim that compulsory education is unconstitutional. They're bringing the money issue in. That's really questioning that if you're going to force people to educate and then you're going to take their money and then deny them that money when they don't want to go to the school that's the government viewpoint, that is unconstitutional.
Yes.
And so they're basically, in doing this, to really summarize it, just kind of make it really clean, what they're trying to do is they're trying to make education speech.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think he clearly outlined that and made a perfect example with the carbon dioxide and how
Yeah.
children are being taught to kind of get defensive with their parents about driving cars because of the harmful effects of carbon dioxide, and to make parents, to guilt trip their parents and make their parents feel as though they aren't doing the right thing. And I think we're seeing that in so many schools today. Look, Brittany, I would be completely fine with dismantling the Department of Education and just letting parents do what they want.
Yeah.
I love the idea of unschooling. I don't know if you've heard of that, but the Amish community, those kids turn out okay in the long run. We can teach our kids basic functions just by taking them to the grocery store with us and letting them pay for something at the cash register. I don't think that they should be chained to a desk in a government facility 7 hours out of the day, 5 days a week. And then if for some reason you don't like it, you don't get a say so in a lot of areas.
Yeah, I think, what I find really interesting about this, there's some precedent cases with the Supreme Court that have kind of established the groundwork for this, but no Supreme Court case has established that education is speech. They've done a lot of different things, and what this case is trying to do is it's trying to string together all the different precedents and then make that case. We just had that case last summer that was our friends in Maryland.
Mahmoud versus Taylor.
Yeah, so that one, that involved religion.
That was actually my next question. I was going to say, what do you think about Mahmoud versus Taylor playing into this?
Well, I think it's a key factor in it, because it established that you could not compel a certain viewpoint, right? You had to give options. Now, it didn't take it as far as that it said that you had to give an opt-out function. So it didn't really go far enough, but it started the process. I find it interesting. There's a scholar out of Liberty University that makes the claim about religion. The guy who is with the NCLA, the New Civil Liberties Alliance, which is who filed the lawsuit. There's a guy that is with that is a legal scholar, and he actually chose to make the case free speech and not freedom of religion because he felt like that was broader. I personally think it's both, but I think the religion component is pretty big, because if you're compelling someone on how to think, well, if you can't compel someone's speech, by default, you shouldn't be able to compel them how to think, right?
Yeah.
Because then that would indirectly compel their speech. From the way I'm looking at it.
Yeah.
And so I think that is why they went with the free speech one and not just the freedom of religion, because it's just broader.
And it's a fresh perspective. It's a new way to look at what's happening. I love some of the points that are being made in this lawsuit. I don't know if it will fare well. I think it's got a lot of hurdles to jump, but of course, you know me, I'm very much in favor of them succeeding in this.
Well, it does have a lot of hurdles to jump, and it's going to take a while. I mean, this process, it has to go through the appeals, and there's a long process. And then, does the Supreme Court even take it? You don't know.
Right.
But I think I want everyone to understand the claim on this. So Nebraska limits parents' First Amendment free speech rights by compelling education while making the public educational benefit available only through government selected education. They're claiming that education is speech. The curriculum taught, the books assigned, and the values reinforced inside and outside of the classroom all convey a message. The NCLA also frames the funding rule as an unconstitutional condition. Government cannot offer a valuable benefit on the condition that a person surrenders a constitutional right. That's largely what what was it from last?
Mahmoud versus Taylor.
Yeah, Mahmoud. Yeah, that kind of taps into that. But what I find interesting is what they're asking for. Their requested relief, the declaratory relief, they want the court to declare that Nebraska's combination, a compulsory education mandate, plus the practice of providing the large per pupil educational benefits only when children enroll in government schools violates the First Amendment and the Nebraska Constitution's free speech clause as viewpoint discrimination and an unconstitutional condition on parents' educational speech. They also want injunctive relief. And then lastly, they want monetary damages. They are not asking for the courts to create a voucher system. They're wanting to still leave that up to the legislature and the state government. So they're not saying that compulsory education is unconstitutional. They're just saying the framework, the formula of you have to do
the forcing.
Yeah, you have to have school, and we're going to tax you, and you don't get the money if you don't go to our government schools. They're saying that formula is unconstitutional.
And it makes perfect sense, in my opinion. I mean, they have a great point here. Brittany, we got to take a break. Stay with us. When we get back, I want to get your opinion on Mississippi's new truancy laws, because I think this plays directly into this court case. And how are courts able to take, or truancy officers in the court system able to take parents to court, put them in jail, fine them if they just don't play by your rules? And I find that to be highly unconstitutional. Y'all stay with us. I am joined by my friend Britney today. We are talking all things public schools. Are they constitutional? Are they not? And we're going to be right back here. You are listening to the Lindsey Beckham Show, 103.9 WYAB. Beckham Show, 103.9 WYAB.
Born in America.
103.9 WYAB.
Hi, Kim Wade here. Hot weather requires us to run the AC nonstop. Pure Air Consultants can inspect your unit today to ensure your AC is operating at peak performance. Pure Air Consultants is your go-to Rheem partner that can get the job done and have you resting in comfort in no time. Locally owned and operated, they have proudly served our community for over 22 years. Contact Pure Air Consultants today at mypureairconsultants.com. Rheem and Pure Air Consultants to the rescue.
When it comes to protecting all the things that matter in your world, generations of folks in central Mississippi have trusted Allstate agent Mark Dwyron. Mark knows the right coverage with the right price, helps you feel secure and protected. For decades, Mark's been a trusted agent protecting you against mayhem that is unpredictable. And he's always just a moment away when you need him. Mark Dwyron. For auto, home, life, and more, you're in good hands with Allstate. Subject to terms, conditions, and availability.
This is Jack Hoffman. For nearly 31 years, Tico's Steakhouse has been a staple of fine dining in Jackson, Mississippi. Dad has long since desired for me to come work alongside him. And now that I'm here, I would like to invite you to come experience our family tradition of our hospitality, sizzling steaks, and healthy poured beverages. Our dining rooms are open and we are taking reservations. Our private rooms are also available along with takeout. Call today or stop in to experience Tico's in the second generation.
Tico's Steakhouse, East County Line Road in Ridgeland, 601-956-1030.
Hello, I'm Gary Jolly from the Tractor Store. LS Tractor understands your passion for the land, and just like you, LS Tractor is committed to excellence and superior products. LS Tractor comes with a long list of standard features that are unmatched by other brands and backed with the LS commitment to provide exceptional customer service and satisfaction. You get a lot more for your money with the LS Tractor. Come to the Tractor Store in Richland to experience the LS difference. The Tractor Store in Richland.
Selecting a fitting memorial is one of the most important and difficult decisions in life. Sadler Granite Works would like to assist you. Sadler Granite Works displays a wide range of enduring granite monuments on property, and all monuments can be furnished in a variety of designs, sizes, and styles. Allow the Sadler family to serve alongside yours in this most difficult of seasons. Call the Sadlers at Sadler Granite today or see them on Highway 49 in Bentonia.
This ad is for all the guys who work hard and they expect their truck to do the same. At RPT Commercial, we have the accessories to help you on the job site. From names like Bedrock Flatbeds, WeatherGuard Toolboxes, Nap-High Service Bodies, ARE Camper Tops, Deck Storage Solutions, and so much more. Stop by our new store on Highway 80 in Pearl and check with our expert staff and see what they can do to make the job just a little bit easier on you. At RPT Commercial, trucks live here.
Hey, this is Ben Ingram from the Braves Radio Network. We're in commercial right now, so I want to let my sister take over and tell you about Hometown Property Group.
Thanks, Ben. This is Mary Claire Putman with Hometown Property Group. Whether you're buying or selling, we are committed to guiding you through your real estate transaction with integrity, exceptional service, and remarkable results. Madison County has been my home for 40 years. I'd love to help make it yours too.
That's Hometown Property Group. Give them a call at 601-853-6080.
From Mississippi, where faith, family, and freedom still matter. This is the Lindsey Beckham Show.
Welcome back into the Lindsey Beckham Show, live here in the WYAB studios, joined by my friend Britney Bouldin over in North Carolina from the South. Britney, last time I talked about the flag situation over in your neck of the woods, there's this listener, Thomas. Now, Thomas and I have a love-hate relationship. After my heart attack, he actually did text in and say, I'm so glad you're okay. But he loves to pick at me and call me a racist and all the things. You know how that goes. And he told me North Carolina's not in the South. And I said, do what, Thomas? I think North Carolina is the South. I'm pretty sure you would agree there.
Well, that's really funny because when I'm not from here. I'm from Arkansas. And so I grew up in Little Rock. And so my husband and I have this running joke because he always says that Arkansas is not in the South.
How?
He says it's more Midwest. And so when we first got married, I was just appalled. I was like, what in the world? So it's a running joke with us. He brings it up periodically and I'll shoot back with something. But it was always under the guise that he should know better because North Carolina is literally the South. And so
I think so too. I agree with you.
So that's so funny that he would even say that because I'm like, in our house, like North Carolina gets to decide.
Amen. Amen. So Brittany, in Mississippi, we just passed new truancy laws. I'm sorry if we had an echo there for a moment. I didn't hit a button I should have hit when we started back up. But in Mississippi, we have a new truancy law that was passed by our legislature. So this is happening all across the state. It's not just our school district, but they now consider you to be chronically absent if you miss more than 5 days a semester. Now, they only allow 3 of those 5 to be unexcused. So if you miss a 4th day that's unexcused, well, truancy is going to show up at your house. You've been reported to the truancy officer. You could be fined. You could be taken to youth court. And if you have 5 apps or more than 5 with even if all 5 are excused,
wow,
you're reported to truancy. Now, 1 case of the flu knocks that out right there. There's your 5 days or more, to be honest. Yet I look at COVID, I'm like, you didn't care if our kids were in those seats during COVID. And here's my problem with it. If my kids are making great grades, they're not falling behind, they understand everything, then I just think it's my right as a parent to decide if they get up and go to school or not. You know, in my situation, sometimes something happens and I'm not capable of getting them there. Mm-hmm. And it's not anything to do with them. It falls back on me. Mm-hmm. But there have been times, of course, Creed is special needs, my 9-year-old, and he's doing so much better than he was several years ago. But there were times when he would keep the whole house up all night. I'm not going to send my kids to school falling asleep because they've been up all night to their brother throwing a temper tantrum, not being able to regulate his emotions and screaming, keeping everybody up. I just don't think the government should have that right to have that say so in my home with my kids.
No.
I found that unconstitutional.
I agree. I mean, I think, yeah, if your kid is doing well, there's no indication that they are being neglected. But of course, you have that question. Then how do we measure that, right? How do we measure it? So they're measuring it based on attendance. But there's a lot of different factors. When my oldest was in kindergarten, we wanted to go to Disney with my mom and stepdad, her grandparents, and they're getting older, and we wanted to have that experience with them. They could
core memories, make those memories.
Yeah, do it at this time. I had to write a paper and submit it to the school about all the different things we were going to learn at Disney. Now I'm really good at writing papers, so I was able to do that, and we got it approved.
And that was before ChatGPT, people.
Right. And there's a lot of, and it was great because I found a lot of ways that you could educate yourself while you were at Disney. But that was ridiculous that I had to do that. Why can't I prioritize family relationships in that type of situation?
That's what we call government overreach and tyranny.
100%. We're at a private school now, and it is fantastic. And they basically say, we trust you. You're the parents. As long as it's not ridiculously out of control, and as long as they're still, doing well in school, it won't be an issue. Yeah. Which is wonderful for those situations where, like you said, where it's out of your control. And what do? I mean, yeah, it doesn't meet the state. Okay. Yeah. They're not sick today, but they were up all night. And I don't want to have to choose between following the law or doing what's best for my child.
Absolutely. 1,000,000%. Amen. Yes. And even our superintendent of education here in the state has made some statements just in this past week saying this could backfire. Parents could just completely pull their kids and homeschool them because they don't want to have to adhere to these new laws.
Well, that's what keeps happening. Every time there's government overreach, it backfires. I don't understand why we can't learn this lesson. It makes no sense to me.
I talked to a mom yesterday in Michigan. A lot of people know, and I talk about it on the show regularly, that, of course, I do interviews for Moms for Liberty, for people across the country wanting to start a new chapter. I talked to a mom yesterday who told me they won't allow anyone to run for school board in her district if you're not a parent. And my thought process was, but don't you still pay taxes there? If you're a resident of that county, you live in that district, and your tax dollars are going there. How is that constitutional?
Yeah, it's not. Back to why schools shouldn't be government run.
They're going so far as to take up their cell phones during the school board meetings because they are afraid they'll record what's being said. I'm like,
that's not transparency.
Not at all. And as we know, transparency breeds trust.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of people don't have any trust in the government anymore. And that's one good thing I can say, I think, that came from COVID, is that a lot of people said, wait a minute, I don't know that I trust this anymore.
It's really sad that we ever really did.
Oh, absolutely.
I don't know how we got lulled into that, but somewhere in time we got lulled into this concept that we could trust our government, which is not foundational to our country's founding at all. So I'm glad. That's one of those benefits of COVID, right? One of the blessings of COVID is it woke us all up and reminded us, oh my goodness, look what could happen. And, as you said at the beginning, we're only one generation away. You know how many times I've heard that quote in my life, and it's gone one ear and out the other, and it didn't even register. Yep. And then post COVID, it locks in, and I'm like, holy cow, now I get it. But what's that saying? Hard times create weak men, and weak men.
I always mess that one up. I mess that one up. I know what you're saying, but I mess it up every time.
I can't ever get it right. But I think that's it. we've had good times in America. And so we took our eye off the ball. I think the same could be true, within the, John Adams says that, our Constitution was created for moral and religious people.
Yeah.
Well, largely our churches have taken their eye off the ball a lot. And that's why we're no longer a moral and religious people. So we wonder why we've lost everything. We have lost the plot in so many ways, not just with trust in government, but we've lost the plot with morals. We've lost the plot with faith. And we're seeing the results of it.
Absolutely. And to bring that full circle, that the quote that neither one of us can ever remember is, the hard times basically create strong men. But you go look at the Bible, James 1:2. Consider it pure joy when you face trials of many kinds, because these trials will produce perseverance.
Yeah.
And that's what we have to have as people who want to keep our rights and freedoms and keep the religious foundation of this country the way it was founded by our founders and what they meant for this country to be. Somebody just put it in the chat. Hard times create strong men create good times times create weak men create hard times. Amen. Thank you. I am real GQ. I appreciate that.
That's the one.
Can never get it right. I can never get it right. We're going to take another quick break, but y'all stay with us. There's lots more to discuss here. I think we could go on for days about how we could find these things that are unconstitutional in the realm of what is public education today. So y'all stay with me. We're going to be right back here with my friend Britney here on the Lindsey Beckham Show. Don't go anywhere.
WYAB.
Americans for Prosperity is Mississippi's and the country's leading grassroots organization dedicated to promoting economic freedom and personal liberty. Americans for Prosperity advocates for limited government, free market policies, and empowering individuals. When given freedom and opportunity, Americans are capable of extraordinary things. If you are ready to make a difference in our community and want to get involved, then visit americansforprosperity.org. Be a part of positive change at americansforprosperity.org. Paid for by Americans for Prosperity.
Hi, Kim Wade here. Hot weather requires us to run the AC nonstop. Pure Air Consultants can inspect your unit today to ensure your AC is operating at peak performance. Pure Air Consultants is your go-to Rheem partner that can get the job done and have you resting in comfort in no time. Locally owned and operated, they have proudly served our community for over 22 years. Contact Pure Air Consultants today at mypureairconsultants.com. Rheem and Pure Air Consultants to the rescue.
ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. Deliberations are underway in the Lindsey Clancy trial in Massachusetts. The mother charged with killing her 3 children. Jurors have several options in trying to reach a verdict and must consider if Clancy meets the legal definition of having a mental defect and criminal intent at the time of the killings. More from ABC's Deborah Roberts.
Prosecutors ending their case with testimony from Gregory Sadoff, a senior psychiatrist with the FBI who interviewed Clancy for 11 hours over 2 days earlier this year. Clancy, a nurse, maintaining that a voice she'd never heard before, nor has heard since, told her to kill her 3 children during a postpartum psychotic episode. But Sadoff claiming Clancy's acts were inconsistent with someone expressing command hallucinations.
Crews are racing to reach survivors in Nepal and Tibet following catastrophic mudslides and flooding throughout a popular tourist valley. More than 350 have died. 1,300 others are missing, including dozens of Americans. This is ABC News.
30, 25, 20, 15, makes a man, misses a 10 to the 5. Can't make every game? The Mississippi State Mini Plan gives you the flexibility to choose the games that fit your schedule. Pick one game each month and get the season finale. Lock in your seats and save compared to single game pricing. Whether you're bringing your family or friends, the Mini Plan is for you. Get your Mini Plan today at hillstate.com/tickets.
Hello, this is Terry Parkinson from the Madison County Co-op. It's aggravating when you go into a store and nobody knows a cow from a donut hole and they can't tell you anything. We've got a staff that has over 120 years experience in nutritional and animal health. We have a lot of cattle products. What I want to highlight is our dry distiller's green tubs. Come by and see us. Check our Facebook page, Madison County Co-op, 323 West Fulton Street, Canton, Mississippi.
Are you looking
looking for a church family to connect with? One that will provide opportunities to grow in your spiritual life, as well as a chance to serve others? First Baptist Flora may be just the place for you. We're located at 102 Jackson Street in Flora. To worship with us in person, we have a traditional worship service that begins Sunday mornings at 8:30. Then our life groups meet at 9:45, and the Refuge Contemporary service begins at 11 a.m. We also have a midweek service every Wednesday at 6:30 p.m. So come join us at First Baptist Flora, where we're making much of Jesus.
Remember when you had energy after work? When your mind was sharp, your confidence was high, and getting older didn't feel like giving up? That guy's still in there. Live Better Men's Health and Wellness helps men fight fatigue, low testosterone, brain fog, and low motivation with customized treatment plans built for real life. No waiting forever, no awkward lectures, just answers, support, and a plan. Living Better starts now. Live Better Men's Health. Visit livebettermen.com today.
As Christians, it's our calling to be faithful to Christ and obedient to the Great Commission. Our heart's desire and prayer to God is that through our efforts, many would receive and rest upon Christ alone as he is offered to them in the gospel. I'm David Strain, Senior Minister at First Presbyterian Church of Jackson, inviting you and your family to join us as we strive to fulfill that mission. We're located on North State Street in Jackson. Times of our services can be found at fpcjackson.org. You can also hear the good news about Jesus Christ each Sunday morning at 9:30 on 103.9 WYAB.
From Mississippi, where faith, family, and freedom still matter. This is the Lindsey Beckham Show.
Welcome back into the Lindsey Beckham Show. I'm going to embarrass Britney here in just a second and brag on her because I think she's wonderful. But real quick, I want to share with you some breaking news, some very sad news, actually, out of Copiah County. Sponsor here at WIB, Mercy House and Teen Challenge. You've all heard them on the show, have really put dads back in homes, helping to rehabilitate dads. Their aftercare home was struck by lightning last night, leaving several residents and staff members without a home due to a fire. I'm just seeing this. This residence housed graduates of the recovery program alongside staff members. According to Mercy House Adult and Teen Challenge CEO Matt Millman, the lightning strike triggered a massive blaze that burned the structure entirely to the ground. The call for emergency services came in around 3:13 a.m., according to Deputy Director of Copiah County. So there were different agencies that responded. They're asking that we please keep Mercy House and those affected by the fire in your prayers as they navigate the situation and determine the next steps in the days ahead as the ministry begins the recovery process. So praying for those people. They do some great work over there. I know Riverside Church over in Flowood, where they hold the Conservative Coalition of Mississippi meetings. They work alongside Mercy House. They have the automobile lot, the used cars that we talk about all the time here at WIB. So please keep those guys in your prayers. They are going to need them during this time. And I got to brag on Britney for just a minute. I'm so glad she's on the show. She's like, what are you about to say? I can see it in her eyes. But Britney is someone who doesn't just speak about something unless she has prayed about it first. She goes to the Lord with everything. And she is such a blessing and an encouragement to me. And the way that she lives her life and the way that she speaks out on things that she truly cares about and does it in a way that she believes God is telling her to speak on those issues. And we need more of that in this country today. She's also someone who I have seen who, I mean, I don't know if you're ever wrong, Britney, but you are someone who's not afraid to come back and say, hey, I didn't have all the facts. And maybe I didn't get it all right. I'm going to correct it. And we need more of that today, too, because there are so many people who cannot admit when they're wrong sometimes. One of those, in my opinion, being our president. Goodness, warp speed. Don't get me started there. But I love the fact that you have that air about you, that you want to make sure what you're saying is correct and that it is being spoken from a godly perspective and coming from good. And there was a huge conversation back on the Lindsey Beckham Show just a few weeks ago when I spoke at a board meeting over in the county right next to mine, or the city right next to mine in Madison County, about fluoride. That's something you've done in North Carolina. You've spoken out about issues that you know are concerning. And I think the world of you.
Well, thank you. The feeling is mutual. And, anything I do well is all glory to God. All the screw ups are all me. And there's a lot of them. You're nice.
No, there's not. Don't let her lie. No, there's not. I mean, just that one election many years ago.
Right. It's okay. I think it's hard though. Anytime I admit that I'm wrong, it's never an easy thing. There's always the first hour of, oh crap. Now I've got to go do this thing and I've got to make it right and tell people. So it's never something that I'm like jumping for joy to do. But at the same time, it's something that I feel extraordinarily compelled to do because God tells us to.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's something, and I've told you this a million times, and I know you don't believe me, but I love your videos and when you go live because I always learn from them. I feel like they're full of wisdom. And I feel like when you have something you want to speak about, it's because you feel truly led to speak on that. And we need more people like that in this country.
Well, thanks. I try. It's hard because you wonder, okay, is it really God or is it my thoughts, but I usually judge it on, I try to take it back to the biblical principles. Is it in any way contradictory to what the Bible says? And if it's not, and then I feel strongly about it, then I usually proceed. But it is important to always check yourself with the Bible. I've not always been good at that. Actually, historically, I've been terrible at that. This is a relatively new thing since COVID. COVID woke me up to all of those things. So this is not something that I've been good at. Literally most of my life, I've been exactly what the Bible teaches God would spit out of his mouth. I was very lukewarm. So, you live and you learn and you grow. And that's the most important thing. I try to tell my kids, it's okay to make a mistake. As long as you learn and grow from it, then
you know better, you do better.
Better, you do better. 100%.
My oldest daughter reminds me of that every time the vaccine issue comes up because she's like, you vaccinated me. And now all the other kids got the blessing of now knowing better.
Yeah.
But she picks at me about that. But it's so true. Yeah. Once you know better, you do better, especially where your kids are concerned.
For sure. You said, we were talking before we went to break about losing the plot. And, kind of where faith and all of this kind of comes in. Mm-hmm. When the last election, I was working the polls working at the polls.
Not working on the polls.
Not working on the polls. Always like, I got to put the "at" in there. That's really important. It's a very important word. But I was working at the polls, and the person who was working for the Democrats that worked consistently with me at the same time, she would always listen to me, and I would always talk about how I voted for Obama. And
I love to pick on Britney about this, by the way.
And so I would say that at the polls, and I would say, different things. And she finally came up to me and asked me why. I basically told her that education is largely what changed my mind. And she asked me why. And I said, I don't understand what's happened. It used to be like when I'm in a car and I have a child that's not mine, a friend's child in the car with me, I always default to what is most G-rated for what we listen to in the car, right? I default to what's going to be acceptable to most people. Yeah. It used to be in society that we did that. It used to be in education we did that. And I told this lady who was a Democrat, I said, that is not the case anymore. And I explained to her about the different books of pornography. I explained to her about the LGBTQ and the trans stuff. And I said, I just don't understand why we can't do that anymore. And now that it has moved past that point, I'm no longer in. And I said, it should be that people, if you want to teach that to your child, do it at home. And she looked at me and she said, but they won't. And I said, what do you mean? She said, well, the conservative people won't teach their children about the LGBTQ stuff at home. And in that moment, it just clicked. I thought, oh my goodness, we've lost the plot.
We've become the radical ones to speak out against this nonsense.
But we've lost the plot of not realizing what education can be used as a tool for. They have not lost the plot. They are progressing their religion while we have been retreating. And it just hit me, and I thought, and really and truly, if you look at the history of education, why I think this case, full circle, why I think this case is so important. If you look at the history of education, the very first law that was created in Massachusetts was more it wasn't a religious, but it was more geared towards religious. It was like something about get rid of Satan law. I can't remember the exact name of it, but it was in Massachusetts, and it was the whole point of it was they wanted their children to learn how to read so they could read the Bible and they could resist Satan. Fast forward to where Horst Mann brings in the Prussian form of education. Well, the Prussian form of education, the whole point of that was they had just lost a war with Napoleon, I think, and they wanted to create a system to where they could make a citizenry be compliant. Mm-hmm. And so when you take that and then you look at my situation during the election with that lady, it's arrived exactly where it was always going to arrive. And whoever is in charge is going to use it to teach the things that they want society to do. And so that is why at the end of the day, though I know that there are, for the greater good, arguments for having compulsory education, at the end of the day, I wonder and I question if the downside of it is worth it. And I'm beginning to think that is a factual no at this point.
Yeah. And we were criticized highly. Our friend Paige put a quote in the newsletter that went out to her chapter. It was a quote by Hitler. And then all of a sudden the leftist Democrat kids want to say that, oh my goodness, they're quoting Hitler. No, we are wanting to bring awareness to the fact that what Hitler did was say, if you can control this generation, you have an army of people who are going to back you up in the next generation.
Yes.
And that's so true. And we are trying to shed light on the fact that that's what's happening right now in public schools.
Yeah. Stalin knew it. Mao knew it. I mean, this is not new. This is not new at all. And
Marxism.
Yes. So at the end of the day, I think I hope this does go to the Supreme Court, because I think their argument is good. And I do think there is a religious argument, but I do think it was right to go with the free speech argument. But I do think the premise of if you have to protect free speech, then you have to protect freedom of thought and belief, because that's what speech springs from. That's
God-given rights, our God-given rights.
Yeah, but
not given by government.
But nobody's. You're going to speak what you believe and what you're taught. So if that's the well that speech springs from, then it has to also be free. It just has to be.
Right. So you can't force me to send my kids somewhere when I don't agree with what they're sharing with my child. In fact, Brittany, I've already opted my third graders out of 2 books that are going to not even take place until next semester. But the first thing I did was go through what was sent home and look up every single book. And they're teaching in one of these books that it's okay to go against the Bible, and it's okay to go against the church, and that immigrants have factually and historically been hated because they look different than us. I'm not teaching my kids those things, and you're not going to either. Over my dead body.
Right. That's not a neutral viewpoint. The lie that we were sold, right, when they took God out of the school, the lie that we were sold was education should be neutral. There is no such thing as neutral.
No, not at all.
If it's going to be someone's worldview.
1,000,000%. We got to take our last break. And in the comments right now, homeschool is always an option. Addressed that earlier. You should have started listening at the beginning of the show. We got to take our last break. Y'all stay with us. We'll be right back here to wrap things up today here on the Lindsey Beckham Show, 103.9 WYAB. Stay tuned. .103.9 WYAB. Stay tuned.
.1039 WYAB.
When it comes to protecting all the things that matter in your world, generations of folks in central Mississippi have trusted Allstate agent Mark Dwyron. Mark knows the right coverage with the right price, helps you feel secure and protected. For decades, Mark's been a trusted agent protecting you against mayhem that is unpredictable. And he's always just a moment away when you need him. Mark Dwyron. For auto, home, life, and more, you're in good hands with Allstate. Subject to terms, conditions, and availability.
Americans for Prosperity is Mississippi's and the country's leading grassroots organization dedicated to promoting economic freedom and personal liberty. Americans for Prosperity advocates for limited government, free market policies, and empowering individuals. When given freedom and opportunity, Americans are capable of extraordinary things. If you are ready to make a difference in our community and want to get involved, then visit americansforprosperity.org. Be a part of positive change at americansforprosperity.org. Paid for by Americans for Prosperity.
At Lakeshore Church, we believe the liberation of the soul is found only in Christ. Hello, I'm Jay Frazier, Senior Pastor at Lakeshore, inviting you to come and worship with us this week. We believe in the three-cross concept of ministry, the cross of salvation, the cross of separation, and the cross of service, and we believe all of these crosses should be evident in our lives. We're at 6880 South Sidewell Road in Byram. For more information about the ministries, activities, and times of service, go to lakeshorecmc.org.
And be sure to listen to Lakeshore Church's weekly program, heard Sunday mornings at 8 on 1039 WYAB.
This is Gary Bryden, ordained minister with the Association of Independent Methodists, inviting you to join us each Sunday morning at 6:30 a.m. for the Methodist Bible Hour USA. We'll explore the scriptures and enjoy special music. In today's world, there's a lot of confusion around us, but we'll point you to the eternal truth found only in Jesus Christ. That's the Methodist Bible Hour USA every Sunday morning at 6:30 on 1039 WYAB.
Managing payroll, benefits, workers' comp, and HR tasks can take valuable time away from running your business. That's where People Lease comes in. From payroll processing and tax filing to employee benefits and retirement plan administration, People Lease helps simplify your back office operations while improving employee satisfaction. Spend less time on paperwork and more time growing your business. Schedule your consultation today at peoplelease.com. That's peoplelease.com.
Your world is constantly growing and changing, and VSC Fire and Security makes sure it's protected. For 60 years running, they've been your trusted contractor for the inspection and installation of fire sprinkler, fire alarm, security, life safety, and integrated systems. VSC Fire and Security's Ridgeland office is now offering fire extinguisher and kitchen hood suppression, providing comprehensive solutions, outstanding design, efficient installation, reliable service, and repair. Contact VSC Fire and Security's Ridgeland office, formerly United Piping Incorporated, and get started today.
If you want the best health care, where do you go? The Mayo Clinic. If you want the best care for your vehicle, where do you go? Mayo Auto Clinic in Raymond. Mayo Auto Clinic does foreign and domestic vehicles and diesel repair. Mayo Auto Clinic has ASE certified techs with over 25 years of experience. You can extend the life of your car or truck when you take it to Mayo Auto Clinic. For cost-effective repairs and maintenance, go to the best, Mayo Auto Clinic. Open weekdays at 7 a.m. Highway 18 in Raymond.
From Mississippi, where faith, family, and freedom still matter. This is the Lindsey Beckham Show.
Welcome back into the Lindsey Beckham Show. We've got just about a minute left. Brittany, thank you so much for joining us today. I always love hearing your words of wisdom. Tell people where they can find you.
Oh gosh. I'm on X. I think my handle is
I'll search Britney Bouldin. You'll find her.
Britney Bouldin, or I think it's Britney for real is my handle.
She is for real. She's for real, for real.
And the same on Instagram. So I'm not.
I only have like 30 seconds left, but I got to tell y'all real quick. So I went to a training in Arkansas with Brittany, and she was going to be presenting. And so her brother came because he was close by. And that's the first time he ever found out that she had actually voted for Obama. It was the best. It was the funniest thing I think that's ever happened.
I'm surprised he didn't pass out, honestly.
He turned blood red. He wasn't happy with you in that moment. But I love Brittany. Brittany, thank you so much. Appreciate you being here. Definitely will have you back. because I love your perspective on things. And so I just appreciate you taking the time out of your day to come on and talk about education. I'll be back tomorrow, same time, same place. See y'all then. Bye.